Welcome to episode 8 of the NBA Breakdown Show. I'm your host, as always, Coach Gibson Pyper. Today's focus is going to be on the Rockets and Warriors, and particularly how the Warriors guarded James Harden, how James Harden kind of countered that, and the Rockets kind of countered that, and then, of course, Boogie's big game against the Rockets and finally playing like a dominant force that he was before. I also want to give a quick update on the schedule. With March Madness next week, I'll be a little bit busier, so the breakdown show will happen on the 15th, 16th, 18th, and 19th. The 15th, we'll have the Kings versus 76ers. The 16th, we'll have the Warriors versus the Thunder. The 18th is the Nuggets versus the Celtics, and the 19th will be the Lakers versus the Bucks. So that means the next day, the breakdowns will air. Two reasons for this. One, I want to do more quality breakdowns and focus on one game at a time. I feel like that's a much better thing for me to do. It's a little bit easier for me to do as well as the March Madness NCAA tournament is around the corner, and I got to do some prep for that and have my membership stuff that I'm doing for that tournament. So I'm excited to get that process started, but that's the scheduling update, and I'll keep you guys updated with the schedule as time goes on. Let's go ahead and get into the breakdown of the Rockets and Warriors. When defending a player like James Harden, the most important thing you can do is make him play in a crowd. So here you can see the Rockets have pretty bad floor spacing here, and Harden drives to the right. When he drives to the right, there's three Warriors defenders that are able to help off and force a hard pass to Eric Gordon and then a tough contested shot. Whenever a big was on the floor, so Fareed or Capella, usually their man would help off. So here you see Draymond plugging the gap, really clogging up that space. Even though Harden tries to clear Fareed out here, you see the Warriors are all pretty much loaded to the ball, and Looney does a good job contesting without fouling. When defending Harden one-on-one, the biggest thing the Warriors did was show their hands and show their chest to the officials, especially on drives. Showing your hands and have your hands straight up high in the air is extremely important because Harden is extremely good at seeking out contact and drawing fouls. Here we can see Steph defending one-on-one, showing his hands, keeping his hands out, and then when the shot goes up, because we show the hands, he's able to contest without getting a foul call. Here's another example of showing hands and then contesting without drawing a foul, going to the right side of Harden's left hand. And then a great example of Iguodala here, showing hands initially on the drive, really emphasizing showing hands high, straight up, doesn't fall for the pump fake, and went straight and walled up and did not allow Harden to score and force a tough pass. Harden's going to get a switch. That's just a fact. Here, Draymond does a good job bumping Cousins off, going under the ball screen, and then getting Steph switched out on Harden. So when you do get switched out on Harden, you have to be able to handle that switch without fouling and put pressure on him early. So normally what you see is when the Warriors get switched out onto Harden, they would kind of put initial pressure and make him back up first and really just try to make Harden as uncomfortable as possible, as hard as that is in isolation defense. When Harden is getting into his rhythm and his dance, the hardest thing for a defender to do is to contest without fouling. I thought the Warriors did a fantastic job of being able to stay on balance, and when Harden does rise up for his shot, the Warriors did a good job of contesting, almost like a flyby contest. Here's a really good example of that. When Steph got isolated onto him, you can see Steph go underneath Harden and fly by, and then purposely avoid contact and really try to mess his shot and his rhythm up without fouling. Now let's look at how Harden attacked the Warriors defense. He really settled in about halfway through the second quarter. Here you can see him read Draymond above in the gap position and throw a lob pass to Capella. Another example is driving in, reading Draymond, throwing a lob to Capella, seeing if Iguodala was going to help or not, and reading the help side defense here. Here we can see Harden directing traffic, telling PJ Tucker to stay in the corner so Draymond would not help one pass away. Now all Harden has to do is read what DeMarcus Cousins does. DeMarcus Cousins doesn't step up, so Harden finishes the layup. Here we get Draymond switched onto Harden. You can see Draymond's really trying to force Harden right. Harden attacks his lead leg, gets around it. Steph stunts like he's going to help. Harden doesn't even flinch and finishes with the and one layup. Here we get Harden going downhill on a switch. McKinney was in the lane, so no rim protector because Looney was switched on Harden, and Harden finishes with the layup. In this example, we can really see Harden's patience, waiting for the defense to make a mistake. All it takes is Klay Thompson to make one jump to Klay Thompson's right, Harden's left. Harden recognizes it, crosses over, gets downhill, and finishes the layup. To take some pressure off of Harden, the Rockets ran some off-ball actions to really keep the defense occupied. Here we can see both Capella and PJ Tucker setting pin downs at the same time. This allows Harden to basically play in one-on-one with this space and forces Klay Thompson to guard one-on-one, and Harden draws the foul. Here we can see Capella screen down for Chris Paul, who rejects the screen. This occupies Boogie, and Draymond Green allows Harden to go one-on-one, draws contact with Iguodala, goes to the free throw line. Harden didn't do a great job of finding shooters, but here you can see when Draymond steps up, McKinney drops, we get an open Gerald Green 3. Another thing I really like is if we watch this possession here, PJ Tucker kind of creeps in on Lee. He's going to actually step in instead of flare screen for Chris Paul in the corner. Harden finds Paul in the corner for an open corner 3. Harden's infamous step back was not working really at all against the Warriors. He was 2 of 12 from three-point line. But here you can see an example of it where he creates space against Draymond. Draymond fouls him for an and one 4-point play. And then late in the first half, he was dancing against Klay, kind of lost it. All it takes, though, is for this one little hesitation from Klay. You can see he's on his back foot right here. Harden recognizes it, pulls it back, and hits the 3. Now let's look at DeMarcus Cousins and how he really hurt the Warriors with post-up actions just by his passing alone. Here we can see anytime they get a switch or a mismatch in the post, here we get Harden switched on to Cousins in transition. Klay enters the ball in the post, and this makes a good hesitation basket cut. Cousins hits him with a nice bounce pass. We get Cousins posted up again. Now we get a screen down for Klay, who comes off to the top of the key, catches and knocks down the 3. Now we get Boogie posted up, and we get some split cut action. Iguodala turns and screens for Curry. Curry's going to come off this screen that Curry comes off all the time in like their 35 empty set, knocks down the open 3. Here we get Boogie posted up again. Klay's going to go backdoor into space now, even though he misses the layup. Still great action. And then this is their actual 35 empty set. We enter the ball into Boogie. Now because his playmaking's been so good and the Rockets have been switching off the ball, now we get Boogie isolated one-on-one with Capella. One of the things that can really impact the Rockets is if you have a good one-on-one player, because they switch so much. If you can go one-on-one, it really nullifies a lot of their defensive schemes. So like when we saw Steph take Austin Rivers off the dribble today, same thing with Cousins here, isolated one-on-one with Capella, he can make his one-on-one moves, crossover, drive to the basket. He did a really good job making some pivots in this game as well, off of early seals and different things. He just scored in a multiple different ways. Here we see a drag ball screen with a weak side pick and pop, a little mid-range pull-up jumper in Capella's face, and then a post up here against Capella where he looks for some split cut action. Nothing is there. So the split cut action actually opens up the lane for Boogie to work. He drives inside, does a good job being patient, gets a little up and under. We call that a Dragic move, then finishes the layup. And then trailing in transition here, attacking off the bounce and finishing a layup. Just a great overall game from Boogie, and was really excited to see that from him. You know, he looked like his old self, and just, you know, he took some criticism for his defense, and, you know, rightly so, but his ability to bounce back was great. I love seeing that. And the Rockets streak is now over at 9. So Cousins ends up with 27 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, and really impacted the game on both sides of the ball. I really liked watching the Warriors. Steph and Klay were their normal selves. Rockets, if Harden actually, you know, has his normal game, are probably in it even more, even though they almost came back at the end. I think the Rockets Warriors would be the best possible outcome for the Western Conference Finals again. I think the Rockets are a really bad matchup for the Warriors, and I can't wait to watch them play, hopefully, in the Western Conference Finals. That's it for this breakdown. My name is Coach Pyper. You can find me on Twitter at HalfCourtHoops, Instagram, The Basketball Playbook, thebasketballplaybook.com, and I look forward to talking to you guys soon.